All right, you just heard from President Trump announcing reciprocal tariffs at the White House and vowing to bring in the golden age of America. Let's bring in Brian Brenberg from Fox Business. He's the co-host of The Big Money Show. Brian, great to see you here today. Let's go over the chart that is already making its way across social media that President Trump held up there that showed reciprocal trades across the world. I believe we can show that, which has been put out by the White House. It's several pages. It shows countries from China to Vietnam, India, numerous countries across the world. The long and short of it, Brian, is that it shows, in the White House's estimation, the tariffs on U.S. imports and also currency manipulation factored in there, and the corresponding reciprocal trade now from the U.S., which on average, Brian, is about half. He pointed out China has, in their estimation, a 67% tariff, and they are going to impose a 34% tariff on China. Tell me your thoughts as you look at that chart and as President Trump signs these orders at the desk there in the Rose Garden.
Yeah, let me interpret that chart, Will. It's interesting. It's both tariffs and non-tariff barriers. You mentioned that, like currency manipulation or stealing intellectual property, different kinds of technical standards about whether they'll accept a product from us. Here's what I think is interesting about it, Will. He said it's a 50% discount on the barriers that those countries put up for us. Now, it's very hard to say that because it's hard to calculate the non-tariff barriers, okay? So what I think he's doing here by saying 50%, I think he's putting an invitation out there, Will. To me, saying the 50% is an invitation, a challenge to these countries, saying to them, if you want to bring down what you're doing to us, we're willing to talk with you, right? That's what he's saying. And I think that's probably a good sign because reciprocal tariffs was his first plan of action in this thing, and it makes sense to a lot of people, right? It's the ultimate fairness tariff. If you're doing something to us, then we're going to do it to you, and if you bring it down, we'll bring it down. So I like where he's going there, and I think it resolves a lot of uncertainty. Markets in the pre-market are coming down a little bit right now, but I think as time goes by, businesses are going to get their heads around this. They're going to say, okay, we can deal with it.
Yeah, Brian, I was just looking at pre-market trading right now, and in the short term, we're looking at somewhere between a 1.5% and 2.5% drop in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. It was expected there will be a short-term pain. The question is now about the long-term gain. He projects it will bring back a golden age of America. Here's the question, Brian. How do you think these countries will respond? Will this set off a trade war, or will it, as you point out, be an invitation they accept to come back to the table and lower their tariffs?
Well, it probably depends country to country, Will, but I think it's a really good invitation. He's going to these guys and saying, we know what you're doing to us. We've put a number on it. We're telling you what it's going to mean for you. But when you go to somebody and say, we're going to only give you half of what you're doing to us, I do really think you're saying, come to the table, because there's the insinuation there. If you don't, we can keep moving up, right, Will? So I actually think these countries are going to probably respond favorably. He was very specific on what he's not happy with when it comes to these different countries. So I expect a lot of negotiation. He's got a 10% baseline, by the way, so let's just be clear on that. I don't think anybody's going to drop below 10%, but 10% is a lot lower than what we were hearing going into this. So I really do think he's trying to be both firm, but he's also saying to trading partners and especially friends, you guys need to come to the table. We need to talk. And I'm hopeful right now they'll do that.
Brian, we only have less than a minute together left in the show. But we've heard from Howard Lutnick. We've heard from Peter Navarro. We've heard now from President Trump on the long-term vision. We spoke to Senator John Thune as well about the long-term vision here and how it plays out over time. We see the short-term pain already. It's immediate short-term in the markets.
Sure.
Quickly, Brian, how long does it take to see the long-term benefits?
Oh, I think the long term is going to come sooner than you think, actually. I think countries are going to come to the table. I think the U.S. economy is ready to rip. And if he gets the tax cuts done, it will do that. Right. But that's the key. And he talked about that at the end.
All right, Brian, thanks so much for being with us today. Hey, it's Will Cain. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Cain podcast for full episodes right now.